I wanted to share this video with you guys and get your input as to what you think about it. I do think it raises two very, very different but equally important points, which I'll come on to talk about after we've watched the video together. It's about a lady called Charmaine Alana, who lives in a converted one-bedroom flat with her 4 children. Now, this flat is being provided as temporary accommodation by presumably the local authority or the government. For those who are not from the UK, and I'm only saying this to clarify and not to make any form of point, temporary accommodation is provided in certain circumstances and at the taxpayer's expense, normally whilst they wait for more appropriate council accommodation to become available, which again will be provided at the expense of the taxpayer. Again, I clarify this only for those people who may not be from the UK and may not understand how the system works. Let's watch some of this video together, and at the end I just wanted to talk about the 2 major points that I think this raises and that need addressing.
So I just wanted to come on here to basically give you a breakdown of my living quarters, how I've been living for the last 2 years, and so forth.
I'll refrain from commenting on her appearance too much at this point. One thing I'd say is that if you are going online to try and make a point, particularly if it's a point about the local authorities or maybe something that you want to see publicised and actually the powers that be to see, then dare I suggest that you put on something more appropriate than a dressing gown. I think if you're trying to address the people who are in control of your living situation, then it shows some sort of effort, some sort of respect, that you at least make a partial effort to get dressed before recording your plea. However, maybe that's just me, or maybe that's just because I put a shirt on personally, specifically to make this video. Who knows?
So basically, me and my 4 children, age 18, 17, 9 and 4. One boy, which is the oldest, who is autistic and so forth, has mobility needs, and then the other 3 are girls. We have been in temporary accommodation, which is 2 rooms, 1 shower room and a absolutely tiny kitchen. There is 0 storage in here. Okay, there's 2 like half wardrobes, like it's literally, because we're in the roof of the building, the ceilings are slanted, as you can see behind me. So we have like half a wardrobe, so it's basically like a child's wardrobe, 1 in each room.
The first thing I'd say is that actually, considering a lot of the local authority and council property I've seen, also an awful lot of private rentals, private paid rentals that I've seen, are in much, much worse condition than this particular property. It looks quite bright, it looks quite modern, it looks quite fresh, the appliances look pretty reasonable. Yes, it's a small house, and I'm speaking from someone who currently lives in a 2-bedroom house with my wife and my nearly 18-year-old stepdaughter, so I am very aware of the challenges of living in a reasonably compact environment and how that can cause problems.
For 5 people, my son who's disabled and my 9-year-old girl, my 17-year-old girl, share a room. He shares a bunk bed with his 9-year-old sister, and then next to them is my 17-year-old daughter in a separate bed. There's stuff piled everywhere in the corners, stacked on top of each other. The shower is also a standing shower, which I can't. I have to use a chair to sit down when I'm...
It's not possible at this stage to comment really on her child's disability, which, having worked in IT, I know an awful lot of autistic people and totally understand the spectrum it can be on, from high-functioning autism, where actually it can benefit people in certain situations, to something like Asperger's disease, which obviously is far more debilitating. And without knowing the full details, it's quite difficult to comment on or understand her particular situation with her son.
Having a fibroid flare-up and stuff, I have to get in the shower with my girls to wash their hair because I can't stand outside the shower door. It's like a sliding door. There's no bath here, and it's literally, I can't even stretch the width of my arms out. That's how small it is in the bathroom. I share a bed with my toddler in the other room. So basically it's a 1-bedroom flat, but they've used the front room and made it into 2 rooms. So yeah, it's super cramped, super small, it's suffocating. It feels like a jail in here, I'm not gonna lie. We've been here for a couple of years now, basically. And despite me asking for a review because it was unsuitable, they was yet to do that. They have only just started to action that now. But obviously I have a TikTok account and I have lots of lovely followers, and since talking about my temporary accommodation journey, I have met so many other men and women in my situation. Some worse off, some not as bad, but it's still not great for the way that we have to live, honestly. But I have found, like I said, so many people in my situation and so many people supporting me and, you know, giving me good advice, helping keep me positive throughout this journey, which I am so grateful for.
It's kind of difficult. I wanted to sort of remain relatively impartial throughout this video. I didn't really want to be one of those people that bleats on about their observations. However, she is complaining consistently about the fact that she is having her accommodation provided for her. Yes, it's very small. But she also talks extensively about her TikTok account and how she is communicating and reaching out to and corresponding with significant numbers of other people who are in similar situations. Now, it's going to sound like a bit of a cliche, but dare I suggest that the time she has spent creating TikTok content and communicating with these other users could be spent in a far more productive way, which is likely to elevate herself out of the position she is in and elevate herself out of the accommodation she currently shares with her 4 children. There are other things you could do with that time that I believe in the medium to long term would yield a much better result for you and your family.
But it is shocking how many people are going through these situations, and their children are being made to live like this when it's just not suitable for your health needs, etc. Not to mention we're like 2 hours away from my children's school. The eldest 2 are doing A levels, and the youngest 2 are in primary school. 2 hours is ridiculous. Not to mention my hospitals, my specialists. I have fought and fought and fought to get out of this property, paying £500 a month storage fees to keep my belongings, my chest of drawers, beds, TVs, washing machine, fridge, all of that kind of stuff in storage. Otherwise I'm back to zero. I lose everything and I'm not going to get the money back.
So she's currently paying £500 a month for storing all of her stuff while she's in temporary accommodation. Now, this video, which seems to end quite abruptly, doesn't give too much of a background as to where she was living previously and how that was being funded. As I said earlier in the video, it seems like she's spending an awful lot of time on this campaign to highlight her particular situation and to highlight the situation of people in similar situations. Meanwhile, the time she spent doing that could be spent looking for work or finding alternatives to her current arrangement. I will make one last comment on this woman's case in particular, and then I'll talk about what I believe to be the biggest issue. Now, she is talking as if she is being let down, like she's being effectively shortchanged by the authorities and by the government. She is currently able to pay £500 storage. Now, I appreciate the situation she was in, that if she stops paying that storage, she will lose all of her possessions, or at least the ones that can't be stored in the current flat. But she has £500 a month to spend on that. She has a roof over her head. She has a modern flat for her and her children to live in. It also looks like she spends a fair amount on her appearance. She quite clearly has lip fillers, possibly other facial work done. She's wearing designer glasses. She has piercings and a number of tattoos. Now, that's not to say she didn't have those before she fell on more sort of financially restrictive hard times. However, it does reduce the amount of sympathy that one is able to have, given that this person is obviously spending beyond their means and not doing maybe the best they can to elevate themselves out of the situation that they are currently complaining about. And that brings me on to, dare I say, the second and possibly more important point. The reason I made these comments is because they were the things that I thought when I first saw this video. My first reaction is, well, why doesn't she get a job? Why is she complaining? Where are the dads? Look at her face. She's obviously spending a lot of money on cosmetic procedures, on her hair, on her glasses, on her tattoos, etc, etc. I get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go out to make sure that I keep a roof over mine and my family's head. My wife, who works for the NHS, goes out and works virtually every day to ensure we have a roof over our heads and food on our table. And this woman's complaining because she's been given everything. I was angry. And that is exactly the point of this video. This is rage baiting, pure and simple. Now, none of this detracts from this woman's story and actually my genuine reaction to it. However, the very reason this is being shared in the mainstream media and spread on social media is because it gets people riled up. It gets people angry like it did to me. It's rage baiting, pure and simple. It gains engagement. It pushes social media pages. It makes those pages more valuable. This is the attention economy that we now live in. Put something in front of people that's going to make them angry, and they will comment on it, and they will share it, and they will speak about how it makes them angry. And that's what I was trying to be careful not to do in this video. And I do appreciate the hypocrisy, and I do appreciate the irony of me making this video. However, this is all done with a view to divide. This is done with a view to polarise opinions and polarise society. I don't know, and I think specifically we are not told about the lady in this video's background. We don't know how she has come to be in the situation she is in. It could be that she has been completely negligent. It could be that she continued to have children despite not being able to afford them. Or it could be that she was living a comfortable life, she was in full-time employment, she was paying for her children along with a partner or ex-partner, and suddenly something happened. There was a major life event which has led her to being unable to continue her work and has found her in a very, very difficult situation. We are not given this information because if we were given this information, we could make a far more pragmatic judgment on her situation and it wouldn't get people quite so riled up. Instead, we are left to form our own opinions, make our own decisions, make our own snap judgments. And dare I say, the fact that this woman, whose story is one of thousands online, this particular woman who's quite clearly had a lot of facial work done, who has had tattoos and piercings and wearing expensive glasses. You cannot tell me that that is a coincidence, along with the fact that her children are quite clearly from more than one father and are mixed race, and that she talks about autism and things like that. All of these are sensitive subjects which are designed to get people riled up, designed to get people angry. And I admit that I was very, very guilty of that when I was first shown this video. What do you think? Do you think that we should be made aware of these sort of cases, so that we can form an opinion, form a judgment on how the government deals with these sorts of situations? Or are they purely vacuous? Are they purely just rage bait trying to increase and extend the engagement of the media outlet that is sharing them and pushing these stories into people's news feeds? Let me know your thoughts, but in the meantime, stay safe and stay sane, everyone.